I just got really emotional over something, and I want to share it with as many people as I can. And sometimes when you think something is valuable, or when you think something is worth fighting for, a lot of times people or your own thoughts will sometimes talk you out of it. Sometimes you ask yourself, what am I even doing? What am I fighting for? I mean, what's the point in doing all this? Am I making a big to-do about nothing? I'm only one man. It's only my opinion. Who am I really, affecting here? And the truth of the matter is, none of that matters. What matters is the fact that that's my home. I'm talking about the oil spill, of course, on the Gulf. For those of you who don't know, I live in Alabama, and my entire life I've lived on the water in Fairhope, Alabama, which is right on the coast. Google it. It's a beautiful place. I mean, we're home of the Jubilee, and it's just, I have a lot of fantastic memories from my childhood on the beach, or fishing, or at least enjoying the good sea breeze that comes by. And oh man, this is hard for me to talk about. And right now, this is the first summer I'm actually away from home, continuing to live in Montgomery, and then the oil spill happens, and I can't help. And man, it's just really hard for me to, because it's so much worse than anybody realizes. Nobody is taking the time or effort to educate themselves about what's happening, and it's going to affect the entire world. It's not just my home, it's everyone's home. It just started in my home. There's a single quote off of this blogger whose name is James P. Wickstrom, and he has a lot of conspiracy theories on his blog, and some of them I think are true, some of them I think are feasible, some of them I think are ridiculous. But he says we cannot depend upon the heavily censored, nationally controlled news media. And I could make this video hours long if I were to talk about the government-controlled news media, because the people who are in charge are the same people who control what you see. People always talk about how ignorant Americans are. It is not because of our lack of intellect or the lack of us wanting to know how. It is because from day one we are fed the same shit out of our television and our radio, day after day after day. Something big happens, we watch the media. We don't know what's happening over there. Nobody knows, and nobody cares, because it's all about money, and it's all about distracting Americans from what's really going on. Right now, I'm going to read you an article from a blog. Keep in mind, this is not to scare people. This is not to claim. I don't claim that this is exactly what's going to happen. Okay. By Dr. James P. Wickstrom. Here's a summary of what is happening. The estimated super high pressure release of oil from under the Earth's crust is between 80,000 and 100,000 barrels per day. The flow of oil and toxic gases is bringing up with it rocks and sand, which causes the flow to create a sandblasting effect on the remaining wellhead device, currently somewhat restricting the flow, as well as the drilled hole itself. So basically, with the pressure comes a lot of debris, rock, sand, that is eroding the device that the oil is coming out of, the wellhead, okay, making the hole bigger. As the wellhead becomes worn, it enlarges the passageway along an ever-increasing flow. Even if some device could be placed into the existing wellhead, it would not be able to shut off the flow, because what remains of the existing wellhead would not be able to contain the pressure. The wellhead piping is originally about 2 inches thick. It is now likely to be less than 1 inch thick, and thinning by each passing moment. The oil has now reached the Gulf Stream and is entering the Oceanic current, which is at least 4 times stronger than the current in the Gulf, which will carry it throughout the world within 18 months. The oil, along with the gases, including benzene and many other toxins, is deleting the oxygen in the water. This is killing all life in the ocean. Along with the oil along the shores, there will be many dead fish, etc., that will have to be gathered and disposed of. Summary of expectations. At some point, the drilled hole in the earth will enlarge itself beneath the wellhead to weaken the area the wellhead rests upon. The intense pressure will then push the wellhead off the hole, allowing a direct, unrestricted flow of oil. The hole will continue to increase in size, allowing more and more oil to rise into the Gulf. After several billion barrels of oil have been released, the pressure within the massive cavity 5 miles beneath the ocean floor will begin to normalize. This will allow the water, under the intense pressure at 1 mile deep, to be forced into the hole in the cavity where the oil was. The temperature at that depth is near 400 degrees, possibly more. The water will be vaporized almost instantly and turned into steam, creating an enormous amount of force, lifting the Gulf floor. It is difficult to know how much water will go down to the core, and therefore it's not possible to fully calculate the rise of the floor. The tsunami wave this will create will be anywhere from 20 to 80 feet high, possibly more. Then the floor will fall into the now vacant chamber. This is how nature will seal the hole. Depending on the height of the tsunami, the ocean debris, oil, and existing structures that will be washed away on shore and inland will leave the area from 50 to 200 miles inland devoid of life. Even if the debris is cleaned up, the contaminants that will be in the ground and water supply will prohibit repopulation of these areas for an unknown number of years. Like I said, I don't know if that's true or not, but, you know, I'm a decently educated guy, and it sounds plausible, and it's going to lift the Gulf floor. I don't know if it's going to, but if it does, this guy says 50 to 200 miles inland will be devoid of life. I live, if 10 miles from the water. But it's time for us to be real. It's time for us to stop worrying about our feeble little lives and figure out how to do something about this. Stop worrying about being politically correct. Stop worrying about your insignificant, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too. I'm too worried about getting a job. I'm too worried about, you know, having a good time Friday night. But you know what? This is more important right now. This is our future. This to me seems like fucking Armageddon. And if it's not, call me a drama queen, but you know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm sorry I rambled. I'm sorry I got emotional. Yeah, I'm really sorry for that. If you want to talk to me about this, or help me educate, or help others educate, or if you want anything to do with this, look in the description below. I think I'm going to put everything from my Facebook URL to my email to my everything. I'm also going to put a copy of what I just read, the blog, on under my description. So once again, sorry for the length, and let me know what you think, please. Bye.